All right. So the last one, no connection from the top.
Oof. Okay. When the senior leaders are too busy, too distant, or too internal, people feel it. Not everyone needs a meeting with the lead pastor, but they do need proximity. If the top is invisible, cold, or inaccessible, the church feels like a machine, not a family. And eventually, people leave machines. Let your leaders be seen. Let them be human. Let them be pastors, not just planners.
Dang.
So I think a lot of churches drop the ball here to where their senior leaders and pastoral staff feel very disconnected from just people that walk through the front doors. Like, sure, you might shake their hand on a Sunday morning, but that's why I think like we have a campaign that we run at Church Candy that's worked really, really well. It's called Coffee with a Pastor. So it's like where a pastor records a video for Instagram. It's like, what up? My name's Brady. I'm a pastor here in the Woodlands area. If you have questions about God, faith, church, would love to grab coffee with you. Click below to schedule a time. And I did not think it was going to work well. I was like, who would want to go grab coffee with some random guy? That
Is the pastor paying for the coffee?
Yeah.
Right on.
Right?
I'm going to coffee. Let's go.
I don't know that the $4 is going to really move the needle there. But it works really well. And so many people are like interested. And there's so many people that are like, I'm coming to your church, not because like I was invited, but because I was able to grab coffee. I've never been able to grab coffee with the pastor.
Wow.
Like I've never been able to have them like have pastors be that accessible. And so it's worked really, really well. And it's because it's that personal angle. I sat down with Pastor LB. He's like the associate pastor at Elevation, like Stephen Furtick's Elevation.
Cool. Yeah.
And I asked him, I was like, man, you guys are such a big church. Like, how do you make people feel like seen? And how do you
connected? Because like your pastor's essentially like a celebrity.
No, yeah,
right?
100%.
So,
and he's talking about how there's power in the personal. Every single person that comes through the door, we want them to fill out a Connect card. And then someone from our staff is responsible within 3 weeks after they visit to have an in-person meeting with them, whether it's having them over for dinner, coffee, lunch. Like they go above and beyond at connecting with people outside of Sundays, outside of their church walls. And I think if a giant church like Elevation can do that, like why can't just smaller local churches have a conviction to meet with people but yeah,
that's so cool, man.
Yeah,
and
you can go for it.
So I was just thinking about like, because that was my first question. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense for the local church, but what about celebrity like pastors and like mega churches? And then you just answered that. And I think that when like you are at the top, and as whatever you're leading grows, you do get more. You don't automatically. You can get more and more disconnected from the ground level. But it reminds me of the CEO of Costco. What's his name again? Oh man, I don't remember. But
ChatGPT.
We need you, buddy. But it was just talking about how he would have a folding desk as his like main desk, and how all of his employees had like access to him. Like there was like a manager of one Costco store, and he went to the hospital and visited him, even though he's like the CEO of like all of them. It was just such an awesome story. And how his salary was only $300,000. I'm thinking the CEO of Costco would have a salary of like in the billions, right? Nope. He was like, I want to be as close as possible to just the entry level worker. And I'm like, that's so amazing to think about. And I think that seeing churches be able to do that as well on the personal level, things like coffee with the pastor, or even just having the people on staff, knowing that the senior leader is never going to be able to hang out with them one-on-one just because of the demands of that.
Yeah.
People within the staff are going to be that extension of that office, which is putting a lot of trust from above onto the staff member. So that's really cool. And I can definitely see that being a thing that would keep people in the church. So next one. Oh, sorry. Go for it.
I just think like describing it as a machine is so accurate, because it's just, you'll see a bunch of moving parts, but what distinguishes it is like the church is a body. So it has to be organic, you know? And so like the pastor, definitely. I love seeing like the church we go to, like our pastor, they have 3 services. And after each service, he immediately leaves the stage and goes to the front to greet people on their way out.
That's so cool.
And it's just amazing to see that.
Church,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just being visible at the very least. And I've seen churches where like they'll have like 7 armor bearers and they'll escort them to the back office so that no one
just like
bro.
going in a circle around him.
Bro, I just learned what an armor bearer was. And what's funny, it was doing a church hot take. I was like, hey, what's your church hot take? And the guy's like, you don't need 7 armor bearers. And I was like, what's an armor bearer? Like, coming from white church culture, like, don't know. And I didn't know that. It was a black dude. And he's like, oh, it's like the posse, right? Like, it's like their guys.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
No, that's so funny. And the thing is, there's so much power in that too. Because I don't know about you guys. After I preach, dude, I'm wiped.
Yeah.
Like, I'm exhausted. And then having to go and be on and like smiling and shaking people's hands, like, that's tough. Like, after I preach, like, I need a veg. I need a hot tea and like chill.
I'm an extrovert, so I'm like the opposite. I want to be around as many people as possible. Just kind of
I think I might be introverted.
I'm introverted too. That is an honest challenge for me, is to continue to be like initiating conversations like that. I think when someone initiates it with me, like, I'm fine. And I was telling my wife about this the other day. Like, it's so hard for me to just like go and start a conversation because it's like a little awkward for me. But like, kudos to people who like you, bro, who just go out to a crowd and be like, hey guys, how, like, you've seen those TikToks, like, I left my husband alone for 2 minutes at the family gathering. He's like chatting up to everybody.
That's
like,
literally my wife. Yeah, every time we go anywhere, she's like, where did he go? And I'm talking to someone.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great trait, but I think every pastor at least needs to challenge themselves to do that if they're not already inclined to it, because like, going off of like, it's so powerful, but it's also like, it shows how far that goes, because it doesn't really take much for people to just notice it, at least just to notice that, hey, this person's actually out greeting people. They weren't just caring about how well their sermon went and how fast they can get out the door. And so just seeing that, like, even though for me, like, it would take a lot of effort just to do that, just my personality, but just the effort enough, even if I didn't talk to these people, they would at least still notice that this person's trying, so it doesn't really take much. And I guess we're not really saying you got to talk to if you have 300 people at church, you don't have to talk to all 300
every
people.
Person, shake every hand.
But make an effort.
Oh my gosh, wait, sorry. This isn't super off topic, but do you guys know that guy, Nick? He has like no arms and no legs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so at everything that for a while at least, everything he would do, he would hug every single person who was waiting in line to hug him. Like, it could be an hour and a half, 2 hours long, but he would sit there and just hug everyone. And I remember this was like kind of pivotal to like my like return to the Lord and whatever. But I was like 15 years old, and I remember standing on that line after his message and just seeing how many people were waiting to hug him. And I was like the last person there, and he, with the same enthusiasm he hugged the first person, he hugged me. And I think that just, I don't know, that like impacted me so much. But you're talking about, you don't have to say hi to all 300 people. You're right. You don't have to say hi to all 300 people. But it's still like, people do notice that level of intentionality. And people will always come away with how they felt from an encounter more than like, what's the opposite of what they felt? More than like what they learned, I guess. Yeah. You know, like, I can't tell you what he preached about. I can just tell you straight up, this person had the joy of the Lord, and that changed my life. So
Amen. Here's something that I learned that I think every church can take away from is there was a study done that the difference between feeling loved and feeling seen, it was so close that people can't often tell it apart.
Oh, wow.
So if you want people to feel loved, just make them feel seen, like as a practical thing. Because we say, love one another. Well, what does that look like? Just make them feel seen. Make them feel important. When you walk by them on a Sunday morning, hey, good morning, Gabe, how's it going? Or just making them feel important. Like, hey, I would love to go grab lunch with you, or ask them questions about themselves. If you do that, like, people are going to feel loved just because they feel seen by you, you know?
Yeah, dude, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's kind of like what Pastor Quentin Carter speaks about. Maybe you might have to fact check. What does it be known? Yeah, it's like the core. It's like the core of just like what people
human
need,
existence, dude. That's dope.
Yeah, amen. This real quick, and then we'll go to the next one. I think that might be the last one though.
Yeah, I think it was.
That reminds me, kind of a little off topic, but like in the secular realm, there was a CEO named Dan Price, and in 2015 he took a salary cut from $1 million down to $70K, just so that his minimum standard of payments for all his employees would be $70K.
Yeah.
And everybody else was telling him, like, like all his business like peers were saying this is the worst idea. You're gonna lose so much money, and I can't remember exactly how much, but like he definitely at least doubled or tripled his income in his company.
His productivity grew like crazy. There were people. I think I remember seeing the interview of a family who was working there, like husband and wife, and they were like, we can finally have kids because we're both making this much money.
We can like buy a house for
we can buy a house, like, and it was so crazy. But
yeah, a lot. I know I think Times, Business Insider, like a lot of people like reported it. And I think they made it like in the video, like everybody like pitched in and bought him like a new Tesla.
No way.
Oh,
like
sick.
Like it just the simplicity, like it kind of streams down the line of what we're talking about here. Just like when you take care of people and like even if it's just like in a sacrificial way, like it goes so far.
Yeah. Man.
So
before we move on, so this guy Sweb, have y'all seen a lot of his stuff?
No, it's actually the first time.
Yeah.
So he is a coach for pastors.
Yeah.
And he's made a couple of posts before that are very like anti social media. It's ads and like Facebook and Instagram ads. So this is Sweb. If you're watching, this is your call out. I want to debate you on this.
Oh, no way. Let's go.
Because I feel like we find common ground.
Can we host our first Sanctified debate?
Yeah, it'd be crazy. We can we can make it happen.
That's what's up. So if you're seeing this, hop on. We'd love to have a conversation.
Tag them in the comments.
So cool.
Yeah.